Us here for this training for this weekend. We ask you that as we sit through these classes and whether we're teaching or trying to learn something, that you let us absorb and learn from each other new and fresh back to our clubs. Please be with us, guys, and protect us in our early day. Amen. Okay, just if you guys, I'm just going to introduce myself because I know most of you probably know me. My name is James. For some of you, Mr. DeBerry. I worked years ago, with Tacoma Park Pathfinders, took a slight hiatus, and joined Beltsville years ago as a counselor, ended up becoming deputy director and director for a few years. I've been out for 2 or 3 years now. This last year, Jenny here got a hold of me and asked me if I would help, so now I am the unofficial official assistant TLT coordinator for the conference. Jenny obviously is the TLT coordinator for the conference. Basically what we wanted to bring here for today was just give you a brief overview. I know by seeing some of you, everybody knows what the TLT program is. Show of hands. Yes, yes, yes. We have seen in the past differences and discrepancies on how people do things. And so we are trying to change that so we can try to get everybody on the same page. As you know, TLT program was set up here, particularly in the Potomac Conference, to do, at least in my opinion, 2 things. One, help keep the older kids in the club longer, but also help train them up to be staff members in the clubs as well as members of the church to do specific jobs. Typically, it's high school age run, 9th through 12th grade. Something that we typically try to push is, instead of doing Voyager Guide, Master Guide, we want to do Voyager, remind me now, Pioneer, Navigator, Guide, and Master Guide. By doing those 2 additional classes, by the time you get through Guide, you have almost all of your Master Guide done, so not only does it help with that, we felt that doing the Guide and Master Guide as a sophomore and junior in high school was a little bit too much for kids of that age. Young people of that age. So that helps slow down the pace a little bit, gets them a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and helps them to understand and grasp a little bit better what they're doing. TLT program, obviously, has hopefully helped with that. Again, we've run into a few issues with how things are run. So again, we're trying to get everybody on the same page as far as how we're doing everything. There aren't too many major things. The manual that we have for TLT program is a good manual. We do have some updates that are coming out. We're going to let you know those today. They still have to be voted on by the council in November, but most of the stuff we've run past members on the council, and everybody seems to be okay with some of the stuff we're doing. Again, not major stuff. The formality. The biggest things that we want to do is we want people to use the manual. There's been people that we've talked to that have said, well, I didn't know that, or I didn't see that. No longer, how to put it nicely, no longer is that an excuse. The manual tells you exactly how to run, literally down to every year, and if you run a 12-year program, every 6 months, or if you run with the school year, every 4.5 months. It tells you exactly what the kids need to do. One of the big things that we are doing as far as changes, everybody knows one of the big things that we feel that we're trying to change is we're trying to add some more accountability into the system. One of the big things is in the application process. If you look at the bottom, typically it needs club director's signature on the application. I don't remember what they called it as far as the adult staff person. They called it the TLT director signature. That's now changing. That title will be the TLT lead mentor. We're also adding on that you have to have your area coordinator's signature on that. Once those 3 are done and the application is finished, which is obviously the one-page application, then you need the recommendation page as well to go with it. Once that gets submitted to the conference level, Jenny being our TLT coordinator and Pastor Sherilyn O'Phil being the director, the youth director, conference director, they have to sign off on that as well. We're doing this for a couple reasons. We've had some issues with TLTs showing up to some of the conference sponsored events, and they're not on any of our lists. And we typically find out why. It's one of two reasons: either they didn't get all the paperwork in, or they turned it into their directors and it never got to us. So kind of a fault of the director not getting to us, or maybe it hung up with the TLT mentor, whatever it may have been. We're trying to add a little bit more accountability into that process so that there's a little bit more check and balances, there's some more extra people in that, so hopefully it gets pushed through. We are going to run the program from the first week of September through the second week of, we say June? June. School calendar year. I know a lot of clubs that is early for them potentially, depending on when you actually do your registration, get your applications and things in. The area coordinator, the head area coordinator, Jeff Cooley, has reached out to us to help in that process about getting the word to the area coordinators, and the area coordinators will disseminate it to the directors as far as we would like the applications in by the second week of August. So it's going to be, no, we're done, we changed that?
Yeah, Professor Sherilyn asked us to strike it in September because of the
Okay.
registration.
That's fine. Excuse me, I'll check that. So the end of September would be the deadline for the application. TLTs, once the application is in and approved, certainly we'll let you, if there's any issues or problems, we'll certainly contact, typically through the director or the TLT mentor, to let you know, hey, this is an issue, we need to get that corrected. Yes?
Will there be like a mid-year, like in January,
No.
opportunity?
Nope.
No.
There's going to be a one, we have so many TLTs, and because, understand, the process has gotten a little bit more lengthy to apply, it's going to take us a while to get through this stuff, so we're doing it once a year. As most of you know, you have to apply every year. Same application, same recommendation sheets. You have to reapply every year. Question?
Oh, wow.
The recommendation sheet goes to go with the application?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Well,
The
One can go before?
we do not, the conference does not need your recommendation.
Oh,
That
okay.
stays at club level.
Right.
All we need is your application.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I understood from
You're right. I apologize. The application is the main thing that obviously needs to come back
right,
to us. So.
and then the recommendations just one time, correct? I mean that's what it said. in
Every
it.
year.
Every year.
The recommendations every year now.
Every year.
Every year.
Okay.
Application
'Cause-
and recommendation every year.
Yes, because you don't know what could happen within a year of a TLT
That makes
life.
sense.
Particularly over summer months if we're not meeting.
Look, he even laughed.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
The reason why I'm asking is because I had been told by individuals that were in leadership at a conference level that the recommendations were only needed for those who had never been in before.
No, every year. It goes right along with it. It does stay at club level, but you need that recommendation to go with it every year.
Okay.
We are modifying the current manual.
Yeah,
As
because
soon as we're finished and it's been voted on by the council, it will go out to everybody.
the old manual said
It does.
Different.
Again, and that's one of one of the things that we're changing.
that you're
in the
changing.
manual,
Okay.
that it will be.
So for the next year, it'll be like that, but not this year, because I've gotten people in, those as far as recommendations.
Talk to us after.
Okay. Thank you.
And said, again, we know this is a transition period. Things are a little bit up in the air with some of this stuff.
Okay.
Things have changed. So again, if there's a question or issue, talk to one of us.
Okay.
We're certainly willing to work with you, obviously. Yeah.
Now the lead TLT coordinator is their mentor. Is their signature saying that all the registration applications, everything is in good order, but they're only sending you the application form?
What makes this a valid application is the director's signature.
Okay.
You're getting the club director, the TLT lead mentor, and the coordinator's
Okay.
signature. So the person that's sending this to us, that's going to be the discretion of the director. If the director is going to delegate that responsibility to the TLT mentor, the lead mentor, then that's at club level's decision. Then yes, that would be. But if the director says, no, I want to take that responsibility, then the director will do that. So that is something that you guys at club level will decide. We don't care how it gets to us as long as all those signatures are there when it gets to us.
But you don't want to see the recommendation.
No.
But you do want us to get the recommendation.
We're honor system.
Yeah.
We're expecting you guys to hold up that end to say, hey,
Only
yes, I have.
because, for example, you have a student that gets approved for the first year, and then they want to do reapply. Shades, I'm so sorry. Here's Shades. He comes in second year. He wants to do second year, and Shades was a little,
Rambunctious.
and got into a little bit of a trouble. And he is not living the life of a Pathfinder. But he likes that nice big shiny pen, and he's like, "Yo, I busted my behind 3 years. I want that pen. I'm going for my 4th year." And homeboy's not living the life of a Pathfinder, and he's hanging out doing things he should not be doing. Shades.
You'll teach you to
Do you
sit next to her
really
again.
want that person to
Be in there.
does he have the right to go for that 4th year the same way as another TLT that is living and walking, may not be perfect, but doing right by God in their life? And here is homeboy over here, drinking some Jesus juice, like some people be saying, and hanging out and doing all godly things. And then come Saturday or Sunday, he's putting on the TLT shirt thinking he's, free as a bird. And, here comes the TLT director that knows. I know that you're not living the life that you're supposed to be living according to the
How do you
Pathfinder
lead?
law.
How do you lead Pathfinders? Because they see that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that TLT recommendation, here he is. Hey, here, Mr. Nesco, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, "Cut. You ain't ready, brother." Are you going to kick him to the curb? No. You're going to work with him, but you're also going to say, "No, I'm sorry. TLT program is not a must for all high school Pathfinders.
Right.
It is an honor to be asked to be a TLT."
That's why there's a recommendation.
Exactly.
Exactly. And again, we're depending on you guys as director / lead mentor to be that first line of defense. You guys have to make that decision based
Right.
on that recommendation. Are you allowed to proceed? You don't sign on the line, so be it. Application's obviously not going to go through.
Right.
So again, that's why we want that.
Just for clarification, so you're saying at club level, if we decide that the TLT lead mentor is the person who's going to sign off on everything, and that's what the director decides, then it's fine to have them sign off on both director and.
No.
That's what I'm wondering. That's
It's
what I'm
just
wondering
the
about.
director is putting that responsibility. They're saying, hey, look, we trust you.
Okay.
We're going to sign the line once you get everything together.
Okay.
You sign
Got
the
it.
line.
Got it.
Again, it's accountability.
Okay.
We're trying to hold more people responsible. So again,
Okay. I got
Because
it.
you could just say, "Listen, this is your thing. I'm delegating to you. As long as I see that you've signed,
Yeah.
it's giving me the understanding
That
that
I can
we
sign.
discussed and everything that you and I are here,
Mhm.
then I can blindly go behind you and just sign, send, because you and I have an understanding of the expectation of what we are expecting here."
Okay.
Do you see
Got
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
That's what it means.
now, obviously, my suggestion to you would be obviously check one or the other, whether director takes responsibility or a mentor.
Communication.
Make sure you're still seeing those forms and those recommendations, obviously.
Yeah.
So, question.
Is application gonna be every year end of September, or just because of Oshkosh this year? Why?
No.
No, every year will be
Yes.
the end of September.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot. We did
That's
speak about that because of
Yes.
the lateness of how some clubs and camporee and stuff like that. So, yes.
And I have a question on the TLT application form. So the TLT lead mentor and the club director will only sign if that applicant is competent enough to be in the TLT program. Am
Yes.
I correct? Based
Yeah.
on whatever recommendation or lack thereof.
Yep. And of course, your relationship with them, knowing them,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera.
Right, because they're the ones bringing this to you. They have to go and find.
They want to be in that program. so
Exactly.
okay.
They have to go and find that recommendation. You're not doing that for
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Okay.
Is there another question? I thought I saw another hand. No? Okay. So again, runs with the calendar year. Recommendation and application every year needs to be in. Obviously, we know the 6 tracks. Like I said, if you've been in the program, you know. I still don't know off the top of my head. Administrative, finance, clerical, outreach, counseling, AY classwork honors, and the camping activities. Something that we are doing is, as in hierarchy in the club, we have director. In there, you have your TLT lead mentor. What we are preferring be done, since every TLT needs a member, a mentor. And I know this is going to shake the boat a little bit, but we have found, and I have been one of those directors who has seen it in my own club at Beltsville, when directors, pastoral staff, deputy directors take on that mentorship role with Pathfinder, with that TLT, they're treated as a secretary or a gopher, and they're not taught anything. They're not being mentored. So what we would like, and again, there's always going to be exceptions, but you need to come to us, you need to talk to us about it. You have lead TLT mentor in the club, and then you have an individual mentor for every TLT. We do not want it to be a administrative member of the club or pastoral staff of the church. What ideally we wanted you to pull from is secretary treasurer in a church or a church member who has experience in these fields. That's who we want to see as a mentor. 2 reasons. One, hopefully they can dedicate more time to the TLT versus the staff member who has enough on their plate, or a director, deputy, or whoever it may be. They can spend more time and mentor them properly. This is not necessarily has to be every time you have a meeting, the mentor has to be there with the TLT. We're giving you some freedom there. It could be once a week, every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever it may be. The other point of that we're trying to look for members is those of us who are old enough in churches have probably seen the elder members of churches who have skills and knowledge and life experience. Things are not passed down particularly well in this age to our youth. And our youth are the ones that are going to run our church. So if we can impart upon them as much wisdom and knowledge as we can, let's try to do that. So again, that's our ultimate preference. There are going to be some exceptions to that rule, but that's going to be a case-by-case basis, and that'll be at the determination of the TLT Council, which would be me, Jenny. We've got a couple of the gentlemen here sitting inside right now. If there is an issue or problem, we understand that some clubs are small, some churches are small. They may not have the available resources to draw from. But if all possible, we want to try to draw from outside that normal pool of Pathfinders and pastoral staff. It's something we're really going to push for to try to help these kids in that mentoring.
Question.
Yep.
Who finds those mentors?
That's
for
going
the
to
TLT?
be the job of the TLT lead mentor in the club.
And the TLT, I'm going to interject here. When Pastor Sherilyn and I sat down and we talked about mentors and introducing mentors into the TLT program, this is a part that the TLT program in Oregon uses, and it is very, very successful. And as she was talking to me about this and integrating this in the Potomac Conference, I got very excited because all I kept thinking about was the way myself, my generation was raised in church. We didn't have a TLT program, but I worked with the elders in my church, and I meant elders as in anybody that was not 16 years old and over the age of 30. To me, that was an old person in church. So I got to work with the church treasurer and the deaconesses and the deacons in church and the Sabbath school teachers and the people that put on the MV programs and AY programs. I got very excited. We have a generation where they're not working with our church members. We have church members that have been in positions, and I don't know if anybody can relate, that have been in positions for 10 years. There was an incident that she had recalled to me where there was a church treasurer that had been doing it for like over 30 years. The person keeled over and died, and nobody knew how to run the church treasury. Nobody knew the system, the accounting, nothing. And that's ridiculous when we have such smart young people today. So if we take the concept of our generation and we reintroduce it to our young people today, through this program, which is what mentoring is by definition, sharing our wisdom with these young people and allowing them to work with them and have our elders in the church say, listen, you have something that these kids need. And all we're asking is for you to take some time and work with them. Not all the time, you don't have to be there all the time, but these 6 tracks lead the church. If you take these 6 tracks, break them up, they are the functioning frame of our church. And all we're asking the church board, if you were to discuss this with your church board, is for you guys to help us with our young people. That's all they're asking. That's all we're asking. And Pastor Sherilyn is writing up a letter to our pastors to invite them to our training day. Because if they realize what the TLT program is with Pathfinders, they're going to be like, oh, it benefits us to be with these guys because they're going to help me in my church. And this is why we don't want this, because I see a lot of, and I was telling James, exclusivity and cliques in a lot of our clubs. And I'm honestly sick and tired of the cliques that I see in some of our clubs and in some of our youth. I'm tired of that. I didn't see that growing up, and I don't want to see it anymore. And within our own churches, we need to get our youth with our church members together, and this is how we're going to do it. And like James says, we will work with the small group churches because we understand they're not big, you know. There's one particular group that I know that is not a big church, and I already told them, listen, honey, we're going to work with you guys because you guys are small. We're talking about other people that have an abundance of knowledge. That's where I have a problem, where you're not pulling from your resources. This is where this is going to come into play. And if you need us to come in and talk to your church board,
I wouldn't speak for Jenny, but if that's necessary and you want us to, let us know.
I have no problem with talking to church board. Sat on church board for over 25 years. No problem talking to people. Spanish, English, doesn't matter. I can do that for you. They don't want me to, but I can do that for you. This is where I can't even express how excited I am about this mentoring project, and so is Pastor Sherilyn, and it's gonna work, and we're gonna get some resistance, and I know it's something new, but I really believe this is the way to go. I'm here because I had mentors. I had mentors that did not, I don't want to do that. You finished? Okay, good. This is what you're gonna do. And you know, I learned how to shop for a Pathfinder club because they dropped us off at the grocery store with a bag of money, and you know, when the payphones. When you're done shopping, you let us know. We had to go back to Pathmark 5 times. If you know New York, there's Pathmark. They dropped us off. The director told us, call us when you're done. Payphone right outside Pathmark. 5 times we had to go back because we didn't know how to buy a paper toilet for our club. We went back. We didn't know how much rice to buy, so we had to go back. And until we got it right. That is how I learned how to buy for a Pathfinder club. That is how we learned. I don't want our TLTs to have it that rough, but, you know, that's what mentoring is. It's not using our teens as slaves and cheap labor and leaving them watching kids like this free babysitting, because that's not what a TLT is. A TLT is a young person that needs mentoring, that needs guidance, that needs our wisdom, that needs our love and time. And these people here have so much responsibility. And I want James to talk about this one right here, because there's an exception to this rule right here.
There is.
A quick question.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
when you say pastors or staff, it's Pathfinder staff, we mean, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, if they're not part of the direct pastoral staff in a church, again, church secretary, church treasurer.
Oh, those are great people.
Those are
great
wonderful.
people.
We want to use
okay,
those.
just to make sure.
That is Pathfinder staff typically. That's good.
I just wanted to bring something in because I talked to you about I had spoken to the treasurer at my church, and the response that I had gotten wasn't resistance as so much it was, okay, so what do you want me to do? And I think they want to know what their responsibilities are. I think
That's what training day on September
exactly
14th is.
what I had proposed to him, because you know we talked about how he operates. He doesn't do his treasurer work when it's the most convenient time for a TLT to be there. But he mentioned doing a presentation. He mentioned coming and talking to them.
And that's certainly
and if
another way to
that's
do it. Absolutely.
yeah, if that's the extent of his mentorship, he's definitely willing to do something like that. As far as being able to follow them and tell him this and do that and this, he's not really interested in doing something like that.
Which I think
But-
you've tried, and you've tried your best to get that person to do it.
You have
Yeah.
assistant treasurers. who
Yeah,
could-
and that's what I talked to him about.
But what I don't want though is, I know you're talking about him coming in and putting this presentation in September, and they never see anything else about it
Right.
through the rest
That's
of the year.
leaving our TLT
Again, that's
with
not helping
no
this
friendship,
process.
no
Right.
bonding, no
So
bridging.
if that's all he
anything.
wants to do, again, your choice. My preference, I would not have him as a mentor.
Right. Right.
Right. Maybe have him come in as, okay, this is what financial, maybe do it for a class versus just the TLTs. Do it for Voyagers or guys or whoever it may
Right.
be.
Right.
But yeah, that to me is not the fit that we want for this.
Okay.
Where does Shield the Vulnerable fit into this?
Good. That was the
Good.
second thing I was going to say. First thing,
sorry.
let me just address that. Parent of a TLT. Nesco also talking about if you have a parent who is a staff member who has a particular, this guy's background is finance. He'd be perfect for administrative or the financial clerical part of this track. This is okay if we've exhausted other avenues of trying to get a mentor. That's okay, but it can't be their own child. It has to be, somebody else in the club. Again, we've had some issues with that, and sometimes
That's just a
people
hard
just
line.
sign off on things. But yeah, no, they cannot do their own children.
Nope.
But again, this is bottom of that list. I want you to try to exhaust any other avenues that you have through your church before we hit this avenue. And again, if you need help, you can just come and talk to the church board or the pastoral staff, whatever it may be, contact us. So, Shield the Vulnerable. Anybody who works with our kids has to go through that Shield the Vulnerable program. So even if these mentors, even if they're only meeting them once a month at the church under your guidance,
Shield the
they
Vulnerable.
still have to go through that. Which, if you're here, everyone's done it. It takes about an hour or so online. It's not necessarily that difficult, but again, it does have to be done.
You did it fast if you did it in an hour.
Yeah.
Well,
You did
6
it
days to
fast.
get over it.
mine wasn't as big because working for a conference, I only had to do the Virginia one. I didn't have to do the
do it
Maryland
together.
one.
No,
So-
I only had to do the Maryland one too, and it took me 2 hours.
There was an
The
exception.
whole thing.
There was an exception for. I like to back you up a little bit. Back it up a little bit, because if we had individuals who were coming in for the day and doing something with the kids and we were there present, then that was something that was permissible. So you're
only-
saying if there's a mentor,
But I'm taking a straight hard stance on that.
okay,
If I have a mentor coming in and working with Jesse, that mentor hopefully will be a mentor the way I had,
okay,
and that mentor is going to want a relationship with me.
right,
And that mentor might want to invite me over for potluck with their family,
okay.
or something to
So they
that
have
effect.
to, yeah,
And that's going to be a mentor that she might have for the rest of her life. Invite her to her wedding or college graduation or anything like that. I'm not going to be able to be there with that mentor all the time.
Mhm.
And as a director, I would want to make sure that I have done my due diligence.
right,
And I rather play it safe, so I say Shield the Vulnerable across the board.
yeah,
There's a difference between a guest instructor and a
Yeah.
mentor.
right.
Yes,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
understand what you're saying. I wanted the clarification
Absolutely.
on that.
And with
And
the
the
mentor,
mentor-
you're going to have phone conversations that you may not be able to be
Exactly.
there for.
Right,
Exactly.
Facebook connections.
Email.
Well
So,
said.
yeah.
Thank you.
So
okay,
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
so
a lot more involved than again just
let's
a,
do our
a
due
teacher
diligence.
coming in. So they actually go in, show you how they feed them, let you feed them. You get to sleep in one of the big tanks. It's a pretty cool deal, I think. Anyway, I'm excited about it anyway. But things like that, things that hopefully they're rewards for these kids that have gone above and beyond. The other thing, and again, it has to go through council, and we're going to get pushback. We know, and we've talked about this. We're trying to institute a point system. There's certain events that are always required. Typically club things that you go and do that are required. So there'll be certain points for that. There'll be certain points for conference events, coming in and checking in. And that should be done. Any TLT, if you're a TLT and you come to a conference event, you find the TLT registration table and you check in. That right there is your pass. That is your golden ticket. That tells you that, and typically what we've done is, like at the fair, we give you an armband that designates you as a TLT.
Yeah, you need to be-
Once you have that band, any TLT things that are done through that day, as long as they see that band, you're golden. We did have an issue at the drill down. We had a couple kids that, according to them, they turned paperwork in. We never got it. They weren't registered. They didn't have ARDMITs. So they weren't allowed to drill down. Again, it's another check for us to make sure that these kids, that, you know, that
I'm gonna say something to the directors and coordinators that are here. I did something at the Renaissance Fair that I will not do again, and that was I had to go to my car and get something. I had to go get some wristbands. I'm not doing that again. So if they do not register, if the coordinators don't communicate that to the directors, to the lead mentors, to your TLTs, to register at all conference events. That's their responsibilities. They're not babies. If they're team leaders, obviously they have common sense there that you guys recommended them and we said okay to go up to a table and said, I'm so-and-so, shades, and I'm here to get their wristband, to check in if there's responsibilities that you guys allowed them to volunteer for, whatever the case may be, and they are events and they don't have a wristband, I will not stop an event. They will not participate.
and,
You
and-
can
and-
holla! I don't care.
and it's not difficult. I mean, you do more as a director getting all your registration information and checking in for your club than they have to. They literally walk up, give them their name. If they're on their list, they get a wristband. That's as simple as it is. And again, that wristband is their golden ticket for any TLT events that day. Just a couple things. We're still working out the actual point values themselves, but holding a church office, participating in church services, conference events, obviously those are required. If you show up, you know, there's points there. Club stuff. Most of this we will keep track of, but there's certain things that obviously we're not with your clubs every time you meet. But participating in showing up to a camp out, that's assigned a point value. You know, if you, especially in your track, if you're doing your camping activities, you help, you know, plan the menu and go shopping with the staff that were doing it, there's point values assigned to that. This is going to do a couple things for us at the conference level. This is going to help us determine TLT of the year. You know, one of the factors will be this point scale. You know, even down to if you're in proper uniform, you're going to get points based on you are in uniform at an event, whatever it may be. You know, in proper uniform, you're going to get points assigned for that.
So the points being assigned are the points per TLT.
Yes. Yes. Every TLT, everything that a points can be assigned for is per TLT.
And can you just touch upon why we came up as a council, of why we are at
Okay.
doing
Again,
this?
there's been a lot. We have seen that there's been a lot of favoritism, a lot of times that kids are put up for awards or honors that wouldn't necessarily deserve it, or stuff wasn't turned in and that kid would have gotten something and something didn't, you know, wasn't filed.
Right.
Again, this is another way to
Be fair.
be fair and be subjective about the process.
And help.
Objective. Yeah,
Objective,
excuse me,
objective, yeah.
Objective about the process. Not subjective. That's what we're trying to eliminate. Excuse me. We're trying to be objective about the process to help, again, better determine, you know, those individuals who have done what they needed to and should be recognized for it.
And we don't want to take it easy.
And we don't. You know, this isn't like, you know, we're shaking our fingers at all the adults in the clubs.
Right, right.
But again, ultimately, in my mind, this is about the TLTs. And if we're doing this program, we need, as the adults in these positions, these leadership positions, we need to be given 110% to make sure that these TLTs are given the full scope of everything that they're able to do.
I just want to say, for Explorers one year, I did something like this when James and I were both working at Beltsville, because we had a lot of a lot of explorers who had parents in leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And the consensus was I could never get an award because otherwise it would be viewed as favoritism. And I think having a transparent system like this helps negate some of that feeling of favoritism, whether it's there or not. It helps negate, and I think it will help with kids.
Yeah, we you know, one of the things that Sherilyn and I we talked about that you know, once this goes out for the council to start talking about it, because we're going to present this to council in November, Kevin, so we want your support, Corinne, Susan, and I have to, you know, we have to present it to my boss over here. That's awesome, so he can put it on his docket. And she has, you know, prepare yourself for pushback, because some of the directors may take it as in you're taking our power away. We're not. We want to help. You know, we want to help you guys by helping you guys keep track, because some of the stuff we can't. We don't know what they're doing at your level, but at the conference events we can help keep track of those things, you know, for you. And come time for you know, for it to be, because we have some directors saying, hey, how come I submitted my kid but he never wins, or why is it always the same, you know, kids or clubs or whatever. Like,
or even to the fact that, well, that club is huge and they can do so much. We're a tiny club and we have no budget. I can't do this stuff, so my kid can't. You know, you don't see what we've been doing. Again, hopefully this is going to negate a lot of that.
That's a good way of doing it, because as I said, I submit my TLT, and she never. I've been for 2 years, never won. So I'm saying, what's the criteria to win? So this would be a good thing to, for them to.
So, you know, and we want to, because when we talk to our TLTs, one of the things that they said, Miss Jenny, you know, can you do something about this unfairness? It's not fair. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I'm like, Shirley, we gotta do something. It's not fair, you know. And I'm sitting there whining like a little girl. But, you know, I love our TLTs. I mean, and I know I'm not supposed to use the word but I love these kids, and I want to do whatever I can to. Even if it's like, hey guys, we got a new board, the small thing, something like that to you guys, to them, it's gonna be like, oh, yes, you know. And then when we ask them, hey, you want to come up and help us clear the new lands at, you know, CBR? Yes, Miss Jenny, we'll be there. Tell us when. We're there. You know, something so small like a point system, right, Shades? You're gonna come and help? Yes. You know, and we, like James says, we're doing it for our youth, and we do for them, they will do for us.
So at the conference level, I like the point system thing. To delineate this information to our TLTs about how and what and everything. I know in the manual we have all this information, and I love it because I can hand it to them and go through it and say, this is what we're going to be doing.
Sure.
They know their
and they know what's expected of them. And for me, I want to make sure each one of my TLTs doesn't just have an electronic copy, but they have a hard copy that they can be able to go through and know what's expected of them. This point system, when it does go live, it's not live right now, correct?
No. I have to submit it to our boss, which is Dick right there.
Dick, okay.
And then our boss, then they'll take it to admin, and then admin will discuss, and then it's submitted, God willing, in November to the whole council, which is some of those people back there.
Right.
And then they'll sit there in a big forum, and they'll discuss and tear it apart and build it up and tear it apart and all that good stuff. And once it goes live, God willing, then we'll
disseminate that information
to you guys.
Okay.
I will say, as I know, as when I was the director of Beltsville, I was one of, like, the administrative logistics type mentor for the kids that were there. And I keep saying kids, I shouldn't say kids, the youth that were there.
Thank you.
Sorry,
like
I know.
Hey, I know. You know word too.
Yeah.
The youth that were there, you know, the TLTs that were there. I never got information. I never felt that anybody was telling us anything besides the manual.
Right.
That was it. Or we went to a conference event, there was an issue.
Right.
That's the only time I ever heard about
I
any
put everything on
TLT.
Facebook, honey.
I mean, she's big with the Facebook, I'm bigger with the emails.
Between the two of us, you'll get everything.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yes, anything that changes, anything that gets updated, we're going to have, and again, that's why I have the sign-up sheet.
Right.
You know, anybody who wants to be on it, get them in contact with us.
Right.
The TLT Facebook page, or
Yes,
even
you'll see. It'll always say breaking news, and I'll be like, TLTs, your directors just got, like the other day, it'll be the directors just got this email, and I will paste it there because the TLTs will know exactly what
Bless
you
you.
guys just got.
Okay.
Bless you. So you guys will know. Oh, Jenny said that we just got an email. Let me check.
And
Okay.
again,
And it'll be
if,
there.
if there's confusion, if there's clarification needed, anything like that, get a hold of one of us.
Please. We're available all the time.
I work a lot, but email,
After 7:30, his baby goes to sleep at 7. After
it's
7:30.
usually the better time.
Mhm.
But if it's after 9:30, I'm not going to answer you to the next day because I'm usually in bed. So just fair warning. Late night stuff, I'm not going to answer.
I'm
but
good.
yeah, Jenny is
Jenny
definitely.
bugs me at work.
Yeah. But again, if there is something that's needed, you know, get a hold of one of us. You know, if it's not something we can answer right then, we'll find out the answer and get back to you.
Okay.
We want this to be an open dialogue. If you're having issues, you know, even down to, look, I know that we do this way, you know, maybe a suggestion of, you know, changing something.
Oh, please. We
Let
are
us know.
so
Now,
open for suggestions.
I'm just going to let,
Okay.
just because you suggested it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But we will certainly take it under consideration.
Okay.
I have a question
Sure.
regarding the point system. I know it's not running yet, but I don't know if this is going to be on a club level answer or not. So we present this point system, and a child registered, a teen registered for the TLT. Everything went through. You got the name, accepted, everything like that. But from then on, they did nothing throughout the year. Now we're at the end of the year. They have done nothing. They have not even get in touch with the mentor. Then
That's my
we
fault.
try. No,
Well-
okay. I was about to say.
Say even
and-
you've done, I know where you're going. So if they've done nothing, they get no points. And again, if they've done nothing, then that goes to these checklists, which Jenny was going to talk about, but since you
Right
brought
here.
that,
Right. That's yeah.
these are in-club
Evaluation.
evaluations that
Exactly.
you want copies of.
Yeah.
These are then the evaluations we do at conference level
Yep,
of the
yep.
kid.
Mhm.
Sorry, keep saying that. The TLT, the youth.
You gotta correct them.
I know.
TLTs, right?
We're all in training.
Uh,
Yes,
exactly.
we're all learning
Um,
together. Thank you.
So if they do nothing and they get no points, which the points aren't the bigger thing for us, it's these.
Right.
You know, make sure that they're doing the program properly.
Right.
If these come back negative,
Uh-huh.
that year didn't happen.
Right.
So they have to start over again.
They'd have to start over.
Yeah.
Now again, that's going to make it tougher because now we know they didn't do anything. So we're going to be a little maybe watching
That's when that
TLT a little
recommendation
bit.
that comes up
And again, there
you
goes
might
your
not accept
recommendation
them.
again.
See-
And something may change, and they may the next year they could be your best TLT ever. But again, that's when these come in. Then.
And see, that's one of the things that we'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yes, and I see where you're going with that. But again, then points aren't recorded, or they're going to be very low on the point scale, if anything. But the bigger thing is going to be these. These evaluations are not going to be good, and they may not again pass on to the next to the level 2 or 3 or whatever
Yeah.
they're next year maybe going into.
That's
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So if they don't do anything and the reports are negative or lacking in anything, are they actually allowed to reapply the next year?
They can, but it would be up to the director and the
The
lead
lead
mentor
mentor.
to accept them or deny them. That's on them.
yeah.
But on a conference level, are we?
Oh, then
are
we can actually say no.
I was going to say that what we've talked about is say something comes back like that, we're going to flag that name.
Yeah,
So that next year, if that name comes back up again,
that means we
we're
don't have
really
have
going to
conversation.
scrutinize
Right.
that application, and there's going to be discussions between us and the lead mentor
And the TLT.
and the TLT.
Like, I will bring you. I'll be like, listen, we're gonna have a meeting, and you have to have that TLT there, and Dick's coming with us because he's my boss. And we're gonna have a little meeting and scare them straight.
Now,
Yeah.
now the points though, they're just to help you at the end of the year evaluation, or is that going to be like the only way to get TLT of the year type of thing?
This is also to make sure that they are meeting the requirements for the program.
Right.
So
They
Documentation.
will go hand in hand because if they're
Yeah.
doing the stuff on here, they're going to be accruing the points.
exactly.
So it is going to help.
you can't do one without the other.
And it will be a immediate physical representation of how they're doing as far as the point system is. But again, the bigger thing is the awards and Pathfinder Year, whatever may be at the end of the year. For us anyway, that's going to be the bigger, more objective way.
And when
is the point
Sherilyn
system.
asks us, as of right now, the way they have it worked, hopefully it'll be a different, this will impress the Pathfinder admin team to reevaluate, boss, hint, hint, the process in picking TLT of the year and maybe Pathfinder of the year, maybe, and taking these and taking this, because the directors still are the ones that submit for Pathfinder and TLT of the year in the current form. So maybe it'll be a great dialogue at the council meeting to talk about that and take these with the submitted names and see where they are, and then have a better understanding of the history of that TLT's past year, and a better understanding, and see where they, you know what I'm saying? So we're just not, you know.
Yeah, it's not
right
just
now,
bogus,
frankly,
yeah.
the way that they have it, you know, it sucks, to be honest. It's just that there's no other way to it's unfair.
Jenny,
Yes?
one of the issues with that is it's honors heavy.
It's what?
It's honors,
Honors
TLT
heavy.
of the year. It's honors heavy.
Yeah.
Or even the Pathfinder year. Pathfinder does tons of honors. Boom, they got lots of points.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, as a director, it's always been very hard to figure out. It's like, okay, who do we nominate? Because according to this criteria, nobody measures up.
Yep.
It's almost you need to have like X points if they did between this and this many,
So
or this
having
many or more.
better,
And this will help.
Yeah.
Our hope is this will help better round out
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
our
That's a good
vision of
thing.
that Pathfinder throughout the year.
Yeah.
I got a good look at that, and I decided when we had our registration, our director wanted each one of us and our divisions, you know, PBE, TLT, all the different divisions, to have their own space to be able to sit down and talk to the kids. Director went through and talked to all the kids that came through, and I went through that list with each one of them. That I said, okay, what are you choosing to do? And I had already spoken to them on the bus on the way back from Oshkosh, had them fill out all the paperwork, the ones that were there. Not everybody was there, but I had them fill it out, and my intention, I said, let me go through this thing, and I saw all of these these requirements. So I sat there, had copies of it on a music stand, and I gave each one of them and sat down with them and said, this is what you're going to be expected to do in this track, you know. And their eyes light up. It was a lot of stuff, but at the same time, they knew what was expected of them. It was not this, we're going to do some esoteric thing and then, you know, you get checked off. They knew what was expected of them.
It's like a high school accelerated program. I mean, you really have to have the calling to be a leader. It's not for everybody, and it's okay that it's not for all Pathfinders. It's okay. You really
gave one of
want
those to you too, right?
want to be a leader.
And ultimately, like I said, for me, my two big goals is A, to keep the youth in the club longer,
Yeah.
which to me translates to keep them into the church longer.
Yeah.
And by giving them this training, not only can they transition into being staff and being able to drop into these positions and do well, it also lets, like Jenny said, it lets us do that in the church as well.
Yes.
So when a call is put out there for, hey, we need help with this, we know we have youth that are trained to do that.
Yeah.
Or can at least we know that they've done something similar and they can learn this and we
Like
can
being
teach
an
them and
assistant
put
or
it
something
them.
like that.
You
Yeah.
know.
There's one tertiary benefit too, which probably not many people know of yet. Maybe you guys do already because you're working in this. Andrews University is now offering 1 semester scholarship for all 4th years.
Wow.
TLT.
Bring that back to your club. Bam! Just saying.
Andrews
That's
University
huge.
is offering, and they're offering for a bunch of other reasons too, academic accelerants and so on and so forth. But
But-
one of the new criteria, and I'm hoping that other colleges will pick this up.
Damn.
But for any 4th year TLT who's gone through all 4 years in the program, they're giving 1 full semester scholarship.
Wow.
Look at that.
Huge.
Very
I'm
cool.
just saying, it's out there.
Yeah. So yeah, looking at that list again, they know what's expected of them, and we have a way to be able to call them to responsibility on each one.
Absolutely.
accountability. The one thing though, at the same time, um, if they haven't been able to do it in the past, how do we make up for it?
Oh, the, because of be,
I'm sorry.
because of the way that and the challenges that we've had with it, and we are in a reboot state. We're going to be taking individual clubs that have that challenge on a club by club basis.
Okay.
So, and I know Beltsville is one of them. So James and I, and you guys are blessed in that sense that you have James as one of your church members.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we're definitely aware of that, and we will work with you on that, and other clubs that I know that have that sort of same situation, and we'll do that. We'll be working with you guys on that.
Okay.
So, you know, don't worry
Appreciate
about that.
Thank you. I just wanted to
And
get
again,
that out.
that's I think the biggest thing with, like Jenny said, this reboot. We're trying to get everybody on the same page, to use the same manual, to use the same tracks, and get the same requirements.
Okay.
That is going to so simplify this process. But we know there's going to be some aches and pains. We know that there's clubs that have not been using the manual the way it was supposed to, and there are kids that they may be second or third year TLTs that really aren't, because they really haven't fulfilled the requirements of the first, second, or third year, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But again, we understand that. We're working with those. If you have an issue, let us know.
Okay. Thank you.
TLTs are very busy when it comes to their Pathfinder meeting days, and the rest of their class who are not TLTs are able to go and do their classwork. Are we going to be having any like TLT Sabbath afternoon?
If the TLT program is run the way it's supposed to, there should not be any TLT that is not able to do their class level works within the time frame of their class. One thing that we wanted to address here, and I wish that there were more directors and lead mentors, because this is one thing we're going to hit hard at the TLT training. TLTs in the past, and it is my mission and Sherilyn's mission and James's mission, TLTs are not, and I will repeat this again and again and again, TLTs are not
Grunt work.
staff. What did I just say?
They're not staff.
They are not staff. They are pathfinders that have decided that they want to be leaders, and that have asked to be mentored by people that have wisdom to share with them, and have courageously stepped up and asked to be team leaders in a Pathfinder club at their church and want to be mentored. They are not staff. They are not to be teaching class level. They may help in teaching an honor. They may help in teaching a class level. Okay. They are not to be left with Pathfinders if they are 18 and under. 1, it's illegal. 2, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not part of their job.
Yeah.
They are not babysitters. So again, take this back to your club, spread it like the gossip. I don't care. But TLTs are not staff, and they're not to be treated as staff. They are Pathfinders that want to be mentored to be leaders one day. And any club that is caught, or I hear that are abusing our TLTs in any way, shape, or form, like glorified babysitters, are going to have to deal with me. Because they are no longer going to be used as free labor.
I'm glad to hear that.
Also,
Is that
in-
clear?
in-
Yeah.
Like, did I make myself
No, you
clear,
made yourself
Kevin, right?
very clear.
I'm pretty clear, right, Kevin? Kevin got me, yes?
I also feel that by adding in the Finder and Navigator, I think it helps.
If you look at
Not that
this,
it's still easier or the
all the
load is
checkoffs
smaller,
says
but it helps
assisted
break it
in,
down a little bit more incrementally. And I've seen it at
that's
Beltsville
the
that
key.
it helps the TLTs do more of this stuff in the normal meeting times
Yeah.
because they're not trying to pack Voyager Guide, Master Guide into 3 years and still do this at the same time. There's, I mean, you all know, there's so much information and things to be done in just the Master Guide alone. You know, by adding those 2 extra class levels in, it definitely, I think, slows the pace down a little bit so that they're able to do more of this stuff.
My plan, like this year, because I've seen how it was done in the past, and it was like you're saying. I was actually last year told that I, as a lead counselor for the Rangers, that and as a deputy director, that I wasn't supposed to be in the classroom, and I was like, okay. And
What?
I said, yeah, and I was asked, and I said, okay, so who's going to be in the classroom? And I had to coordinate with. Fortunately, I had 2 other counselors. For some reason, that's what my director told me. I had 2 other counselors, and I said, I need to have a counselor in the room with my TLT. And so when the one who I asked and requested, who had, I think, been one of the persons who wanted me to be not in, I said, then let that person be there. And they never showed up. Then I had to get the other person who was really just a helper, but told me they were a counselor, that they were at the class time every time. And my plan this year was to have them met up with the lead counselor, have them assisting, have them teaching certain things and counseling with the lead mentor. But then I need to be able to pull my team out, my TLT out at any point in time, so that they could be able to go and do their classwork.
Yes.
You know, and
That's still paramount. I mean,
yeah.
they are still,
There's-
again, they're Pathfinders.
they're Pathfinders.
They're still working through a class
Right.
level, and at the end of the year, they need to be invested into the next one.
Right.
Into the next
So I
class.
didn't want them to be in a situation where they were, you know, if they're sitting there spinning their thumbs, you know, that they're not doing anything. That they need to be there at this, point in time doing this, and then we can come out. Because I'm actually trying to do the Pioneer and Navigator classes. I don't know how it's going to happen, but you know, I don't want to have to be the one teaching now. I'm still looking for resources. But yeah, we can
So,
talk.
a question.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I
Question.
like that.
So to clarify about TLT in the Pathfinder function itself. So say like Nesco was saying, okay,
Thank
so
you.
we have, say, Jessie is assigned to a friend's class
Yes, ma'am.
to assist. You're saying based on this that lead counselor in friends cannot be her mentor, even though
Yes.
cannot.
It cannot, because the thing is if she's helping out, say she's assigned to a friend's class, then I'm expecting her to be working on her AY classwork track. That's why she's assigned to that class and helping out, so that she can learn how to put a lesson plan together, how to teach these kids. But if she's just being thrown in there, again, as a junior staff member, because you need somebody in there or you think it will do her good, that's not helping her in this process. And no, that staff member, again, we're preferring not to have that staff member as their mentor. Again,
So
that
we're
then
saying
falls
that-
on the lead mentor, or the lead TLT mentor in the club, to then make sure what she's doing according to her track work in that whatever level she's at, she's accomplishing those goals. You know, again, in my mind, what you're saying, and we do it all the time in clubs, a lot of the times we take an older Pathfinder and or a TLT, we throw them with another counselor and say, we'll help them do this
Yep.
and learn.
That's what happened.
And that's not
Yeah.
that's not the purpose of the TLT program. That's not doing justice to them when they want to do this. That's not doing justice to them.
Even when they want to do it.
It's true. Now,
Yeah.
now, granted, if Jessie comes in, she's got all of her classwork done that she needs to be done. You know, you've helped her with what she needs to, and she wants to help out with the class. Sure, absolutely. But that's not the main purpose of her in these tracks. Again, unless it's potentially the AY and the honors work track that she's in, and she needs to be doing some of that stuff.
Because the pushback from a lot of the directors when I first became a coordinator was, they're a Pathfinder and they need to do their class. Okay, that's good. So now we're going to do it, and we're going to run this program the way that it needs to be run. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Either she's a Pathfinder or she's a staff member. She can't be a staff member and then you treat her like a Pathfinder. Or she can't be a Pathfinder and then you treat her like a staff member.
I don't think Jenny finished that first thought, because when you said that they say they'll come to us and be like, well, we need them. I have them working and doing this. No, they're a Pathfinder. They need to be doing their work, working on their TLT tracks. Once all that's accomplished, if they want to and you need them to do something, absolutely. You know, we got a lot of that at some of the events where people were getting angry with us because the TLTs were either helping us out or they were working on doing something.
Who's gonna? I need them to watch the kids. You need
that's
to
your
do
staff's part.
what?
That's your staff.
That's why I want clarification as to where they are in their club and what they are in the conference level. And you know, you mentioned earlier that with this TLT training coming up, you're gonna invite the pastors and everyone else. But I don't think my director does not think that he has to be there.
Yeah, that's what
And I think this is something that my director needs.
I'll fix that tomorrow.
Thank
The
you.
email was sent to the directors and coordinators
It's-
and the
I'll fix that
TLT
tomorrow.
mentors.
No,
honestly-
because this is something that I think my director needs to know so
But it
that
was
he can
sent
have
to
an
him.
understanding.
How can he not know that it's for him?
Oh, okay.
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe overlook the part that say he has to be there.
Yeah.
If it says TLT,
They don't think it's him.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he needs to be there. He needs to see what his Pathfinders are being trained to do, so that when
Because again, his signature's still on there.
yeah,
He
and
carries some of that
ultimately,
responsibility load.
he's responsible. I mean, he may be taking the lead in overseeing them, but if something goes wrong, guess what? The church board holds him responsible because he's the director. So he better know what's going on with his teams.
Yeah, so we just need that clarification.
Yeah.
Who is required to be there and who this information is going to be given to, you know. So I
Okay,
think that
just
would be
make it clear. Directors, TLT mentors,
Yep,
TLTs,
and deputy directors.
and any potential pastors or, you know, pastoral staff that wants to show up and see what we're doing. We're certainly opening that up to them. But directors, TLT mentors, and TLTs. That's who we want there next weekend.
Are we going to have this held again? Because not
Well,
all the
we're gonna
mentors
be-
have been identified yet.
We're
Right.
going to, this is it's supposed to be a quick overview, but on the 14th, it's going to be more detailed.
And that's two things I was going to get into. That's going to be for, we're not expecting necessarily people from Richmond, you know, to come up for an
There's two
entire day.
trainings.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to do 2 trainings. The first one will be for more of the northern clubs. Anybody's welcome to come, certainly. But that's going to be more northern clubs in January, February. We're going to hold another one, but we're going to move it south so that those more southern clubs can come into that a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Any
the
idea
other
how
thing is-
far south?
What's that?
Any idea how far south?
We're not sure yet.
Okay. Now, the reason why I'm asking is because there's a lot of people that, you know, I'm going to try to videotape the whole thing, but there's a lot of people who may not be, like you said, may not have identified all the mentors yet.
But it's
Sure.
guys, it's awful early, plus there's clubs that already have their schedule set. And they already have a meeting. I know, you gotta get the ball rolling.
We got to try.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's going to be
you
aches and
gotta offer.
pains, but we got to start it somewhere. And
Yes.
even
Yeah,
if
sure.
this takes into next year till people start putting it on the schedule, so be it. We're still going to hold it.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is you put on the email, you said on the email it's mandatory. So you just gotta give clubs time to be able to, you know,
Adjust.
work it out.
And
Sure.
the,
No,
and
no,
the
no.
clubs that want
Oh, and that, I mean, as far as the second training day, that's going to be within the next, you know, we actually have a date on the calendar,
yeah, the
which
dates are
we're
already
good
on the
with.
calendar.
We're just looking at the location right now.
Because this, the
I don't
September
know.
14th
It's on the
was
calendar, girl. Look at the calendar.
You should know.
Was it?
not on the conference
That's why it's on the calendar.
I've seen multiple renditions of it, so I don't want to speak. I'm not denying that. I
Dick,
just
you were supposed to put it on the calendar.
The one that was given out at the director's meeting in July, this September 14th was not on the calendar.
It was
Yeah, yeah, it
changed
was-
from
It was changed,
August
it wa-
24.
It was on August 24th, and then there was an email sent out that it needed to be changed, and it was changed to September 24th. An email went out by Nancy.
Yeah, the email came out this week.
Can
was
we
twice.
tape,
Yeah, Monday.
what's being
Yeah, they came out this week.
held at the meeting, and then sort of like just build up some sort of training, so that if people can't come to that one, or they don't want to wait to know this information
Sure.
until
That's
February.
certainly a possibility. Absolutely.
Yes.
I've been waiting
We
for
do it
that.
right now. We do that camp
I
right
know.
now. So
But he's here
what's the
talking to
excuse?
you. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna let you talk to my wife and my 1-year-old about that one, okay?
Yeah, don't mess with her.
Don't blame your wife.
Well, my wife works Sundays,
Trust
okay?
me, I have 2 kids, and trust me, I can't blame my kids for that.
You've got maybe a little more understanding wife than I do right now. So.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
But yes, it's something I'm working towards. Like I said, I need my BST, then I can get invested as a master guide, and yeah, we're done.
Hey, question.
I just need to go. Oh,
The
well, finish your question.
TLTs. What age? I know it's an age grade, but what age is actually? Because
Starts freshman
Freshman year,
year.
high school.
So that's like
12.
14.
It's based on a grade.
But if they start because I have a few kids who started at 15, are they required to do the 4 year or not?
No, if they're 15
Uh-huh.
and they start, from what we discussed, they can still join because it'll take them through their freshman year in college. And I have 3 that finished in their freshman year in college.
Okay,
But I'm saying we let them do 4 years or those
yes.
3 years.
The
No,
program's
4.
still 4, but based on the 2 new class levels, it's a 5-year program as far as the class levels. So if they start a year late, they're still good because doing their master guide as a freshman in college, they can still do their 4th year as
Which
a
we
TLT.
strongly suggest they do. It is the workload is better. It's easier for them.
Doing the master guide as a freshman.
As a freshman in college, as opposed to doing it in high school when you have all that workload your junior and senior year.
And by doing the Pioneer and the Navigator,
It's
you
so
cover
much
over half of the required material
for master guide.
That's
So
right.
hey, I'm just saying.
So the master
it
guide
works
becomes
out.
just that much easier to do.
Trying to do master guide at 16 in a year is,
Yeah.
and do TLT.
Well, and like I said, we've sat down and looked at it. We just think master guide at 16, 17, it's just too
Yeah,
advanced.
that's what I'm
The
Do it
things
the
they
right
ask
way.
you, the stuff that they want to know,
It's a
you
Pioneer.
just can't know that at 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have it on my email.
I just want to go.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Just go over this real quick. In your manual, in the manuals, and I believe Joel gave out the thumb drives.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Navigator.
Okay.
Take a look
it
at
still
this.
has the same.
Giving it to me?
No?
The administrative
Who's it
operation
running?
evaluation, Kevin, and the TLT program level checklist. These, real quickly, and we'll go over this again at the TLT training. These are the checklists that we keep track of.
Right.
Sherilyn and I will have these at conference, and this is filled out based on the evaluations that the TLT lead mentors will be keeping track at club level. Okay. And we'll go more into these, so don't freak out. At the training, and we'll go. Jamie and I will go over these, but they're in
No, Who fills that one out? 'Cause
this is us.
is us.
This
that
is
you
us.
fill that out only. Okay. I was asking because I actually
Now
was.
you can
I have. Yeah. It's in the. It's in the
everybody's
manual.
gonna have
These are
it.
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And if you want to check them off yourself, but
Okay.
the only one that matters
Right.
Is
not that
ours.
matters, is the one that we're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's based on this, the application form, I mean, everything that we
Okay.
accrue from you guys, from your TLTs,
Right.
Okay.
Because
is
there
going to go to fill this out.
It's
Okay.
each individual track. It's administrative. It's the Class AY honors, camping. Ooh. Today, Jenny. Counseling and finance and clerical operations. We'll go ahead and go deeper into this if you have any questions, and we'll go over all of that
Yeah.
on the weekend. But just one thing. Once, if you guys ever wanted to, if we get the checklist, the point system approved, you guys doing this, and we're doing this, a combination of all of them, there should never be a question by the TLT a parent, a staff member, how did this kid win? Everything it'll flow.
Documentation.
Exactly. It's CYA on all of our parts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And you're communicating with us. We're communicating with you. They're communicating with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're mentors with you as the team, you know, the TLT lead mentor. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And we're all communicating together. And the end result is this. And hopefully we'll get to the point where we're like, look, they're doing phenomenal. We're just going to have to think of just something because we have such awesome Potomac.
So, Jenny,
Yes, sir.
what happens if you get 10 that have all the same points and all the same qualifications and all that?
Then we will have an emergency council meeting, and we're going to have to do something. And I want that problem.
Yes.
I welcome that problem. You guys, bring it on. I'm just saying, bring it. I did want to say something about Oshkosh. I was given the great privilege of working with two awesome people, Kathy Rowe and Pastor Jose Torres, working with TLTs from across the country and of the world, different countries. And it was an amazing experience for me because TLTs from here, TLTs from other states and countries, all the same. They didn't care what state you were from, didn't matter your nationality, it didn't matter anything. They all had the same mentality, service. They all wanted to help. And it didn't matter that I wasn't there, you know, TLT mentor. Or coordinator, whatever, director. It didn't matter. They wanted to come in and they were like, I'm so-and-so, and I'm supposed to work, you know, 2 to 5, or was it 1 to 5, or 12:30 to 5 or something? And I'm like, okay, sign in, get granola bar, water, get a jacket, go. And by the time, you know, Wednesday or Thursday came along, they're like, Miss Jenny, I'm here to work, you know, and they're here signing in, and it was like all of them were my TLTs because all they cared was about working and working together, and that frame of mind, that's what I want. I was telling James, and I think I was telling the guys inside, that's the mentality I want Potomac to have.
Yeah.
I want Potomac TLTs to have the mentality that we're Pathfinders and we're Potomac TLTs. It doesn't matter what club we're from. It doesn't matter. We're here to serve. Our director said that, you know, you needed help, and we're here. So it doesn't matter. I don't care what club I am. I don't care that our drill team won. It doesn't matter, because the TLTs at Oshkosh, that's the mentality that it didn't matter what union they were from. It didn't matter. They just wanted to serve and work together and get to know everybody else and work together. And that's what I want Potomac to be. I don't want my club is better than yours, or you know, I'm not talking to them because, you know, whatever. I don't want that. I want Shades to be like, yo, Jazzy, what are you doing? Yeah, Miss Jenny wants us to do this. All right, cool, let's go. You know, and everybody work together. I did get a great a report from Kathy saying that we did have Potomac, very proud, had the most TLTs volunteer in all of Oshkosh. So out of the 300 and
Wow, that's something.
lot, we had the most TLT. 300, we had the most most hours volunteered.
Yeah.
I think Rowhead, where's Rowhead?
Right there.
Rowhead did a lot of hours at Oshkosh.
Jenny,
Huh?
we had, so I didn't mean to interrupt your thought, but I'm on the receiving end of that service, and I didn't think that I was going to get but maybe 1 or 2. I mean, you know, there was a lot of need for them, but we had at least 6 TLTs at the drilling and marching area for most of the week. And
Really?
Some of them, they just worked hard. I mean, they all worked hard, don't get me wrong, but some worked exceptionally hard because we had to have score sheets run, and they were running the cameras, and they were always, we had, yeah, the big thing that we got saddled with, which was a wonderful thing, is the stamps. The dog tags.
They're on the
dog
rubber
tags.
stamps, right?
Yeah,
Those things?
yeah.
And they just ran that table, and they were just happy and smiled. So, again, just
That's awesome.
seconding the sentiment that
Yeah.
TLTs, whether they were Potomac or wherever they were, they served well. So.
They did, and a lot of the people there they thought that these were the shirts that Oshkosh was giving out, and I was like, this is the only time I'm going to say this, guys, but this is Potomac Conference TLT. You ain't getting them.
I still want to know who chose black, but
I don't have another shirt.
Hey, some of these young people like black. I'm just saying. I just went with
Or
it.
maybe you like it.
You know what?
They're
Black
hot.
is beautiful. All right. I know. I did say, I promised my boss that I would never do Oshkosh again because he said I was gone too much.
Well, that's good. They wanted to see you. That's
You
good.
know what? You're lucky we have minors here.
Yeah, but I saw her.
But
Yeah, Billy said when I see her, she's like, she's dying.
I did get a phone call from Kathy about, not Kathy, from Pastor Jose a week later. And Kathy is, you know, as some of you that worked with her, you know, she's a little older and she's getting ready to retire from doing Oshkosh. And apparently I said hi to some man, don't remember who. Oh, time. They want Pastor Jose and I to consider taking over for her for the next Oshkosh. I said, well, I'm gonna have to talk to my boss. I kind of told him I wasn't gonna do this again. So they really loved Potomac. Potomac really came through for Oshkosh this year, this Oshkosh. So guys, we have a great group of young people, and I want to continue that, and I want to blow it up for not just because I'm your coordinator, but you know, it could be James taking over, hint. But you guys, you know, we have great young people, and they just want mentors, and that's my big word this year for our conference. TLT mentors. We need you guys to step up.
It was TLT at the Oshkosh. It was a good thing because, you know, I heard some parents said, oh, my kids were going to be, they're going to be already 17, 18 by then. Oh, there is a TLT program. Oh, that's right. They can come back next year for something else. So there's hope.
Absolutely. My niece is already on countdown. She was like, next time I come, I'm going to be a TLT. I'm going to work on my DP. Like, oh, Lord have mercy.
all right, I love you, but it's time to go.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
all for
wait.
coming.
5 minutes.
We're going to pray.
Please bow your heads, close your eyes. Dear Heavenly Father, once again we ask you that we thank you for bringing us here this weekend. Hopefully we've ironed out some wrinkles and you know, we're pushing ahead with this program. We ask you just to be with us, be with the program, be with the TLTs, and bless us, please. In your heavenly name, amen.
Amen.